Hey, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm really, really good.
Excellent. You've been on a bit of a whirlwind trip doing my research. I see you've been like all over the world in the past 2 weeks.
Oh my God, Taipei and Tokyo and Sydney.
It's crazy. So where are you right now?
I just landed in New York. I'm here for about 2 more hours, and then I go to Georgia for some additional shooting to do for the finale.
Oh, no way. Okay, so it's not completely done yet. That's interesting that they saved it for after all your crazy press. So you're all tired when you get there. That's great.
Yeah, right. But, I'm tired on the show. It'll work.
It's true. Yeah, I guess the character is kind of exhausted. I guess everyone's kind of exhausted on the show.
Yeah, everyone's exhausted.
I mean, they live in a crazy world. Anyway, we don't have much time. So, doing research for this, I realized I love it when there's a crazy story on Wikipedia that I don't know if it's true or not. And so I thought we'd start with you getting discovered at a party in LA, screaming with giant sunglasses on until someone asked if you wanted to be in a play. What is that?
Yeah, that was, I was working at a motorcycle shop, and I quit my job that day. I had something went wrong at the workplace, so I quit that job, and I went to a party up in the hills. A friend of mine took me, and had a little too much to drink and started screaming at a bunch of people, and there was a lady there that sort of approached me about acting and being in a play, and the guy that took me there was sort of interested in the lady, and that conversation happened, and then it kind of all started.
So why? Because you just showed some sort of like not caring about your surroundings, or did you have any acting experience before that?
I didn't have any acting experience. I don't know what the reason was. I don't know. She thought it was funny. I have no idea.
I'm going to start trying that. I'm just going to start screaming at parties and hope for the best from now on. Okay, I like it.
I think it's a one-time thing. You got to do it once. If it doesn't work, you got to stop, or else you go to prison.
Yeah, maybe that's the right way to go about it. It's true. So knowing a little bit about the comic book series before starting watching the series, I know your character was not a part of it, and then you became a recurring character, and then became a series regular. Now you blew up my Twitter, just me asking, does anyone have questions for him this morning? It's never gone crazier, which is nuts. So going,
oh, wow.
Yeah, man, it's like congratulations on that, I suppose. For
That's my mom on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Got 300,000 accounts.
Yeah. So what inspired your backstory, not having the comic book to go off that everyone else did?
Well, I never actually had a conversation at all about the character when I first started with Frank Darabont or anybody. And, I showed up on set, and, I knew some of Merle's stuff, so I watched a bunch of tape of Merle, and then I just started to try to create a backstory. And then, working with the writers, we have, very generous writers, and then they bring you in the writer's room and they talk about, like, what do you think Daryl thinks about, say, T-Dog? Whatever. So, I just tried to imagine what it was like growing up like that. And, just imagine, like, having a big brother that probably put me down, I had to fight for everything. And I just, I thought about reasons why people fight. And some people fight to protect somebody. Some people fight to look tough. And some people fight because they've always had to. And so I just sort of took it from there, and try to, drop little hints at things about my storyline that sort of became stories, and just, to take it from there.
And then I heard the writers kind of took things maybe that you said and brought that into season 2. Is that true?
Yeah, well, there were certain things, with TV you get to drop these little seeds in the ground as you go along, and sometimes they turn into trees and stuff, and, some of those trees turn into storylines. So, yeah, we all kind of work together, but I definitely dropped some seeds.
Well, that must be the biggest compliment for you as an actor when you're dropping those little seeds, and then it turns out that the writers, I guess, just another further acclamation that they dig what you're doing when they take it back and put it into the actual stories the following year.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually very generous of them, and it's a compliment. And at the same time, sometimes I come up with ideas, and they're like, "No, Norman, no, you can't do that," and no, and then sometimes I go, "Oh man, come on," and then they go, "No," and then I go, "All right, you're probably right."
Well, it's a give and take, I'm sure. A little bit of give and take there.
Yeah, it's a total give and take.
So I was talking to David Morrissey earlier this week, who was telling me, he likes to immerse himself in the character. He'll stay in character. He'll stay in accent. I think he even said Andy stays in accent as well while they're working. What about you as an actor? When when do you get into character? Is it in your trailer before? Is it when the director says action? Like when are you Daryl?
I'll start. I start pretty early. It's not hard to go full redneck when you're shooting out in the woods, Georgia. You know what I mean? But everything kind of. I did the Conspirator right before I started the first season, and it was a very like guttural, grunty thing I was trying to do, and I sort of rolled into Daryl with that sort of attitude. Everything kind of comes out of the top left of his face, and he doesn't really want to look you in the eye unless he has to, and that's changed from season 1 to season 3 because now he's kind of a guy that looks you directly in the eye, and in the beginning I tried to not look people so much straight forward. I was hiding something, you know what I mean? And now he's hiding things, but he kind of wears his heart on his sleeve at the same time now. So he's kind of evolving.
How's that for you as an actor? I mean, I think I could be wrong about this. This is the first time you've had this long to play with the same character.
Oh no, you're totally right.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, what a blessing. The thing is too, like I've done like 50 films, and but I've never really had that opportunity to. You see people they lose tons of weight for a role, or they get really buff for a role. Like those people get those roles months in advance. They know, oh, I'm going to do this February of next year. I usually have only done films where it's like you're working, in 4 days. You know what I mean? So you never really get a chance to really immerse yourself physically and change yourself. You can do it mentally and with your voice and the way you walk and what you wear and so forth, but I never had an opportunity to, gain 50 pounds for a part or something like that. But not that Daryl needs that.
No.
But it's nice to, especially in a zombie apocalypse. But,
where's he gaining all this weight from? Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? You try to keep fit for this part and stuff like that, but you want to stay lean. You want to, have arm muscles, but it would be ridiculous if I took off my shirt and had a six-pack. You know what I'm saying?
Talking about arm muscles and whatnot, I'm just thinking like the first scene we're going to see of the new season is you, I would assume, getting into a fight. Now, I don't know where the scene's going to play itself out, but the way it's set up is that you and Merle are going to have this fight. So, did you do any fight training for it?
Well, you just hang out with Rooker. He throws you against a wall at some point. That it's choreographed. If that's what's going to happen, all fight scenes are choreographed, and they take good care in not beating the crap out of us too much. But you get hurt. You know what I mean? You definitely get hurt.
But I guess it makes you feel more like the character anyway. Like you feel more immersed in the scene the more injured, I suppose, you get.
Well, I went into that scene trying to be as little as possible. We could have played that scene, both of us just like caged animals, fighting, we'll kill everyone here. We could have played it that way, but I thought it was more interesting to play it as small as possible and look as scared as possible, and because that scene's not really to me about the governor. It's not really about that fight. And it's not about that arena. It's about seeing Merle in that situation. You know what I mean? So how do you play that? Do you play that like, I'm going to kill everybody, or do you play it like little brother and big brother? Because I wanted that interaction when we see each other to be more of, I'm little brother, help me. You know what I mean? And it brought out a side of Rooker, too. It brought out a side of Merle where, he went from like, I'll kill everybody to like, oh my God, what have I done? And that's because we played that like that, so, that was a choice.
Now, is that something that comes out in rehearsal? Is that something you talk to the writers about? Like, how did you block the scene and rehearse it to play it that way?
Rooker and I work really well together, and he's such a good instinctual actor, and, you can just throw something completely different at Rooker and he'll just react differently. You can't really say, oh, I'm going to go in and do this. You just kind of, there was a lot of whimpering and crying and scaredy shit coming from me underneath that hood that he could hear before that hood came off. And I'm sure it just put him in that place. And, he played that part how he wanted to play it. And that's not really it's not really one of those things you go, hey, I'm going to try this. I think you should try this. It's just, you trust each other, and Rooker's just really good. You know what I mean?
You talk about taking the hood off. I noticed in that scene that just talking about where you're going with playing it little, like you back into your captor's chest. You know, the governor's got you.
Yeah,
but
I'm so glad you noticed that.
But
yeah.
But I found that so interesting that you chose. I don't know if that's you choosing to do, if that's someone blocking you to do that. But I found that really interesting that you back into your captor when you see your brother.
You know, I didn't make a conscious decision to do that. I just made a conscious decision to react to seeing Merle a certain way, and just instinctually I backed into the bad guy. You know, but it you know, that, what do you call those GIFs, whatever those GIF?
Yeah, sure.
There's one of me doing that. You know, and there's on the internet that somebody pointed out to me, that, and I'm happy, really happy, when people watch episodes and they pick up these little things, you know, because it makes me know that people are paying attention to these details, and you know, all the characters on our show are so rich, and they do these little things, and you know, it's not a show about zombies, you know, it's about these people, and so it thrills me when people pick that stuff up. But yeah, that you know, that was something that just instinctually happened, and I was super proud of that, because it just showed that we were all there together doing it. So I don't know, I just really dig that when they find those about anything. You know, like, it's like when Carol leans over and kisses me on the forehead after I get shot. I flinch, like, don't hit me, you know, like, coming at me, you know. And, you know, now there's a storyline that I was an abused child, you know what I mean? So these little things help develop the character for me and for the writers and for the audience, you know. So you know, I love when people point that stuff out.
Cool. I'd love to keep going along that thread, but we don't have too much time here. So I wanted to switch to, I don't know where I want to take this. I guess filming the disclaimer that's going to air before the shows this season, because I know that was a big thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, that was a decision that Joel and Charlie made over at AMC, and it was a good decision. And you know, I've got a lot of great feedback from doing that, and you know, I'm happy to do stuff like that, and you know, I mean it, and we all mean it, and you know, that's a decision that AMC made, and I was happy to do it.
Mm-hmm. And the digital arrows, I'd love to get that story from you, because I hear you have a real arrow in your hand. You're going through everything. You have to take the arrow out of scene, drop it on the floor, pick it back up, and then it's all digital. And I'd love to just hear how that works.
Yeah, it's a bit of a math problem, because you can't shoot a real arrow on set for safety reasons, so it has to be a digital arrow. But you have to show yourself loading the crossbow. So if there's, like, you know, say there's 20 walkers in front of me, and I got to kill all of them real fast with a crossbow, it's one of those. It's not an automatic weapon, so it's like, you know, you got to pull the arrow, show the arrow, load the crossbow, go to shoot, drop it out of frame, throw the arrow on the ground, raise it back up where it was, fire the digital arrow. Then you got to always go get your arrows back, because arrows are scarce in the zombie apocalypse. So you got to yank it out of the forehead. You got to maybe stick your knife in another one, keep that one off. You pull the arrow out, load it, drop it under the camera, throw the arrow on the ground. Digitally, I mean, it's like, it becomes a math problem.
I love it. That's crazy. Before I let you go, we do something called 5 questions. 5 quick questions, 1-word answers. Hitchcock or Kubrick?
Huh?
Hitchcock or Kubrick?
Ooh, Kubrick.
Lennon or McCartney?
Lennon.
Your biggest influence as an actor?
Ooh, my childhood.
Role you're most proud of?
Daryl Dixon.
Cool. And in 1 word, The Walking Dead.
Exciting.
Exciting is